Okay, so I've just watched Del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities, the first episode. Now, this is an anthology series, and straight away I got mega like Tales from the Crypt, um, sort of Hitchcocky sort of vibes. The way he sort of walks in is very Hitchcocky. Um, yeah, so it's a good little horror story. The first one, you basically begin to see this like old guy die while he's chopping up meat. He doesn't seem like very important at first, but he sort of chops up his meat and he dies. Next thing, there's a guy sort of buying one of these storage units. Obviously, does a little bar, what do they call it, a bit of a auction for a storage unit, and he wins. And it turns out he's been tipped off by the guy that runs sort of the storage house, so it's quite cool, a bit sneaky. But our guy, sort of our main guy we're following, is the guy that bought the lot, and he's just a horrible type of person. He's very sort of like prejudiced. He's very aggressive with everything, really aggressive. Obviously, he's like an ex soldier who kind of feels like he's been crapped on by his country. That's kind of the vibe. That's probably why he's paid off all the time. You then see sort of like him win this lot. He searches through the lot and he finds this like old table. And when he sort of like takes the table to get looked at, the I think she's like an antique dealer. She sort of opens the table for a secret little button, and out these three books pop. And then she calls a friend of hers who's sort of an expert in books, and he turns up and says it's basically these the three books they found in the table. Actually, there should be a fourth one, and it's about demons and demonic possession and things like that, and how they can trap a demon in a human body. And we find out that I guess the old guy that we saw at the beginnings trapped a demon in his sister, and that's the story that they believe they heard anyway. So then, our our main character goes to the auction house with this book expert, and they find that as they're searching for this fourth book, the fourth book's the most valuable of all the books, and if it hasn't been used up, as soon as it gets used up, it gets set on fire. So they travel into this auction house again, the auction house, right? Travel into this storage unit place, and they go hunting for the fourth book. But they find there's a secret room at the back of the storage shed. And they sort of follow. It seems to go on forever. I mean, he says it's big, but it just seems to go on forever. This little corridor to this place, and they find it's like what's left of like a human, sort of really skinny sort of skin. It kind of reminds me of the film Seven. You know, we find that guy's really emaciated and skinny, kind of like that on the floor, but it's got no face, and in the face, it's like his tentacles sort of like all over the place. And that's the demon that's stuck inside of the cult of the girl that we heard about earlier. This guy's sister. Well, then well, not really a hero, our sort of like our main character, then decides he wants to grab the book, which you can see on like what do they call it? On this like stand, sort of open, where he goes to grab it. Of course, destroys the circle that's around the body, which obviously unleashes the demon. The demon then sort of rips free from its human sort of like host, I suppose you could call it, and it's all tentacles. It reminds me of the guys from Cradle of Filth, the band, did a movie called Cradle of Fear. It might have been at the end of the 90s, I think. And there's a thing in there, it's all sort of like demon tentacle things coming out of his head. And it reminded me a lot of that. So this body sort of stands up. This girl's, like, it may say her body stands up. And from the waist up, it's just loads of tentacles floating around. And there's like a mouth in there with teeth. First thing it does is kills the book expert. Then it goes hunting after our main character. Now he's running away and he tries to get out. Now earlier on in the story, this is the bit that really kind of like throws me because I don't 100% get this bit. But we saw this woman goes into the bloke who owns the storage unit, says, "You sold my lot." Turns out our sort of like main character in this thing has bought the lot. She asked him if she can go and find any more of her stuff. He refuses because he's a nasty piece of work. This guy's it's a git really. But you keep seeing this woman. She seems like she hasn't left the lot, which I think is really weird. She hasn't left this storage unit area, and I don't get. That's the bit I didn't get. She just doesn't leave. She stays there. So when he comes and goes, these experts, he comes back again. She's still there. So back to our guy trying to run away from this demon thing. He runs to the door, and she's on the opposite side of the door. and she won't let him out, and he stays there and he gets eaten. It's kind of a weird ending, but as I say, it's very much like these Twilight Zones, these Outer Limits episodes, where they don't always have a happy ending. They have like a weird twist or a dark ending normally. So far, Steve's been really good. I'm about to watch the second episode now, so I'll give you a little review on that after. This first one, it's shot really dark, really weird. And I've just realised where I've seen that guy before. The guy that is our sort of main character, the arsehole guy, the ex-vet, miserable git guy, he was in The Incredible Hulk, and it's literally just pinged in my head where I've seen him from. He plays the guy that sort of helps in the sort of Ed Norton Incredible Hulk, that helps him turn into, like, trying to control the Hulk. He ends up becoming like what we think is going to be the leader. They never went back to that, but it's that guy, that scientist guy that tries to help him stop becoming the Hulk. Anyway, so I'm gonna watch the second one now, and I will recommend it. It's a weird little show so far on the first episode. And I love the little introductions by Del Toro himself, and this Cabinet of Curiosities thing that he has. I kind of want one in my house now. But anyway, let's see the next one's like. Oh, like and subscribe.